Good evening and welcome to the Finger Lakes Golfer Podcast on FingerLakes1.com and FingerLakes1.tv. It's Monday, June 30th, 2014. I'm your host, Jim Sinicropi, and I'm joined in the studio by the Big Easy, Bob LaPrade. How you doing tonight, Bob?
I'm doing great. Doing good.
Hot and humid.
Yes.
Stuffy. Up here in the studio, too, no less.
Yeah.
So you just, as usual, got done playing Monday Night League, and it was hot.
Yeah, very hot out there tonight.
Is there anything you do different when it's hot, like dress-wise or equipment-wise?
Not really. Not that I can think of off the top of my head. I just go out there and swing the club best I can.
Yeah, I like to make sure I'm wearing something loose-fitting.
Yeah.
You know, the material's important. The new, like, Under Armour style. That's good when it's hot.
All that breathable wear, right?
Yeah, and if it's going to be a long day and it's going to be really hot, a lot of times I'll take a cooler with ice in it and just put a couple towels in there. Or maybe it's not ice, but those ice packs. But sometimes it's ice, because even if then you got a cold, wet towel.
Right.
Pull it out of there and rub your face with it.
Wow, that's a great idea.
And what about sweaty hands? You have sweaty hands?
Tonight I did. But what I usually do is I'll take, usually it's my right hand for some odd well, I got a glove on the left hand, so that makes sense,
true.
right? So I like to take my right hand and I'll right behind my right back pocket I'll wipe the sweat off. Right.
Does it leave a dirty mark back there after a while?
It probably does. Yeah.
Yeah, I got sweaty hands sometimes too. You know, just try to give them a good wipe on a towel or something before you start your pre-shot routine. Yeah, I've known guys to wear 2 gloves.
Yeah.
You ever seen that?
You know what? Yes, I have. Tommy 2 gloves and an amateur. I saw an amateur do that once.
Yeah, I would. I might consider that. Why not? You know.
You know, I was thinking. You bring up a quick thought I had. You bring up an item that I was thinking about the other day. Is I noticed my left hand is much whiter than my right because I wear a glove.
Sure, yeah, mine too.
And I wondered, do people see that, like when I'm talking to them? But Tommy 2 gloves, Tommy Gainey.
Yeah.
He must look pretty.
It depends. I mean, you take them off when you putt, right?
I don't think Tommy does, though.
I think early on in the season I get that one hand lighter than the next, but I think it evens out just through natural being outside and when you're not golfing.
Yeah.
So it kind of evens itself out. But I take the glove off when I putt too. Do you take the glove off when you putt?
Yeah, I do.
Now, why do people do that? I honestly, one reason I do it is just because it, I don't want to have that glove on my hand for 4 hours. So if I take it off,
right.
When I putt, at least it lets my hand air out and the sun balances it up a little bit.
I just do it because I see the guys on TV do it. Maybe I should try it on when I'm putting just to see if it gives me some advantage.
Yeah, I think people do it just because they feel like you're going to have better feel.
Right.
Without the glove on. But it is weird that a lot of people take off the glove just to putt,
Yeah.
But almost every pro does.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, they do.
Well, got a lot to talk about tonight. So this is our 3rd episode. Thanks to everyone who checked out our first 2 episodes. Over 800 total on YouTube.
Wow.
Which is pretty nice.
Yeah.
And we are available on iTunes now, and we will be available on Stitcher.com shortly. And, we had about 15 or so audio downloads, but that usually builds with time now that we're listed on iTunes. You search for Finger Lakes Golfer on iTunes, search for FingerLakes1.com on YouTube, and subscribe. And then we'll be here every Monday night. You'll get the little notification. Or Tuesday morning when you hop in your car, can queue us up on the old iPod or iPhone or any iDevice. So this week, pin in or out. Want to talk about that? When you're greenside, when you're on the fringe putting, and they say you want that in or out.
The great debate.
Yep. So we'll talk about that a little bit. And then you got your pick of the week, which is another great swing analysis smartphone app. We'll give the 3rd hole of our Finger Lakes Dream 18. A lot of response this week from suggestions from our viewers.
Fantastic.
And my Zen tip of the week will help you turn emotion into focus on the course. I get made fun of quite a bit for my Zen segment. At least last week I did. A lot of people texted me, be the ball and stuff like that. But, all right, opening up the show here. It's June 30th. Now, this is what I would consider the end of the early part of the season. I think the golf season around here in the Finger Lakes, at least, is, if you're lucky, you get out there in April, and then May, also hit or miss, but hopefully you get to play a fair amount of golf in May. And then June, you got a month of really nice conditions usually. And then I think on July 1st, you go into mid-season, which is July and August, and then when September hits, that's late season. So we're ending the early season, and, one good thing about my game right now, at least as far as I'm concerned, is that I'm, super consistent. It means, well, pretty much, a good example is on Sunday mornings, we're in week 8 of playing. And all our scores are tracked. And every single one of my scores is between 77 or 78 and 81 or 82. Like every single one, all 8 weeks. And so while, yeah, that's good, I guess to be consistent. But on another night of the week, a Wednesday night I think it was, back in late May, I shot a 73. And, I want to do more of that. But since that time, I have never had a round that was even close. I've gotten off to some good starts, and, I always end up in that, that 5 or 6 to 10 over range, and feeling like a bit of a breakthrough. Is heading my way over the next couple weeks now. Now, where's your game at? Because you've shot some excellent scores, and you've shot some high 80 scores. And this Sunday, I thought maybe we'd see you with a nice round, but I think you shot 85.
No, my standard deviation's pretty high. I can shoot 74, 75, which is kind of the low end of my game, and then 83 to 85. But I can tell you when I'm shooting in the 81, 82, 83 range, it feels so awful to me. But then, I try not to pay attention to my round and what I'm shooting. But when I get in, it feels like 86, 87, but it's actually not that. So I'm not as consistent as I'd like to be.
Where's the consistency lacking? A couple mistakes during the round, or just a general?
It's usually off the tee with the driver.
Getting in trouble here and there.
Or, just losing concentration on the short game. Somewhere in there.
Because playing with you, I think your driver's been pretty consistently good this year.
This weekend it was not.
No.
Actually, you saw me on one of the holes and you asked me why I was where I was.
Oh, that's right. Did you skip one over the pond on 6?
No, I avoided the skip.
So it was a little pop-up? Or
yeah, no.
Just kind of smothered it?
Yeah, a little smother. Yeah, that was a tough round.
Yeah, that was odd to see.
Mm-hmm.
Playing my new driver, Titleist 913. Just getting used to it, not ready.
How'd it go?
It seems to go lower. It's a 10.5 loss. I'm talking to another guy who went to a demo days. He said that the guy there told him that the Titleist drivers, he actually brought home a 12 degree.
Oh, wow.
And it's because they go, for whatever reason, lower. But I like it a lot. I like to be able to cut it when I need to, and draw it. Obviously, that's what I'd like to do. And I had a little trouble this weekend cutting it.
Really?
It wasn't reliable. A couple times just didn't cut. So got to get used to it. But I'll review that in a later show.
Okay.
But right now, pin in or pin out. Your greenside, you got a chip shot, or you're putting from the fringe, and your playing partner says you want that in or out. What do you generally say?
Well, there's a couple school of thoughts here. I know guys that say pin out always. I'm not one of those guys. If I got a downhill chip, I typically will use pin in. If I'm being aggressive, if I have to be aggressive, it's a match play type situation, or I'm really trying to make that chip or even a putt off the green, I leave the pin in. If it's leaning one way or the other, I'll take it out.
Yeah, I'm I guess I'm similar. That it'll vary. I kind of like to leave it in more than often because the science behind it actually says that you should leave it in almost all cases. I'll get into that in a second. I like to leave it in on short game shots, especially longer ones, because it helps me gauge it. It's another point of reference. You know how tall that flag is, and from if you're 30 feet away from a greenside, it's just another aid to help you gauge distance. So I like to leave it in for that reason. Sometimes I like to take it out when I'm short. I got a short putt from the fringe. You didn't hit a bad shot. You might only have 12 feet, but you're on the fringe. And I almost always take it out then because I want it to feel more like I'm on the green putting than, hitting a shot that's not on the green.
Right.
So, but, you've heard of Dave Pelz, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Well, Dave Pelz, a while ago now actually did a study. By rolling balls on the green from a short distance, Pelz was able to measure how the flag stick affected the results. So to guarantee that his experiment was reliable, he used a putting machine called the True Roller to roll balls precisely controlled directions at carefully controlled speeds. And for the test, the True Roller was set about 2 feet from the cup and measured, number one, how many putts stayed in the hole when the flagstick was out, and how many putts stayed in when the flagstick was in. And each test was run at 3 different speeds. On a perfectly flat green, the speeds were fast enough to send the ball 3 feet past the hole, 6 feet past the hole, and 9 feet past the hole. Each test also included putts that approached the target from different parts of the hole: dead center, left, right center, etc., left, right edge. And finally, the tests were run first on level greens, then on ones that slope sharply uphill or downhill. So all told, the True Roller launched thousands of shots at the hole, an equal number with the flagstick in and out. And the results were leave the flagstick in all the time. Does that surprise you at all?
Well, if I'm not mistaken, Dave Pelz was a rocket scientist.
That might be right. He did apply science to the art of putting. Putt Like the Pros was his first book.
Yeah, but I think he worked for NASA and stuff like that. So you really can't argue with a rocket scientist on any subject, really. So
well, if he runs these tests, he's really that's the most reliable data you got, and if it shows that you should leave it in.
Yeah, he's very scientific about his approach to golf, especially if you've ever read a Short Game Bible and what he did with Tom Kite and some of the other fellows he worked with on tour. He's really turned their game around.
Well, some interesting things to take away from the study that he did. One of the most surprising is when the flagstick leans slightly towards or away from the golfer, the odds of it helping keep the ball in the hole actually increase. So a lot of people say, is that leaning towards me? Oh, yeah, it's leaning a little bit towards you. Well, take it out then. And if you think about it, the reason is if it's leaning towards you, the ball hits it and it gets directed down into the hole. So what you want to do when it's leaning towards you, if there's enough room for that ball, when it's leaning towards you, don't touch it. That's an advantage. Even if you miss it right or left of center, it's knocking it partially down into the hole. So, another thing that came out of this was that, only in the most obvious case when the flagstick is leaning so far towards the golfer that there isn't enough room for the ball, leaving the flagstick in is a bad idea. So you can check the flagstick before you chip. And now here's a question for you. Rules of golf. Are you allowed? What can you do with a pin before you chip? Can you adjust it? Can you? What do you think?
Wow. I would say you could. I'd say you can go make sure it's centered up.
Yeah, you're right. You can. You can't position it to your advantage, so you couldn't lean it towards you. Mm-hmm. You can do 2 things. One, you can leave it like it is if it's leaning. If it's already leaning, and it's already not even in the hole all the way, kind of. You can. Your choice is to leave it, or you can center it, but you can't adjust it. So. And then again, like I said, even if you don't hit the flagstick dead center, it will still aid you. In all instances, every angle, uphill, downhill, direction, 2, 3, 6, 9 feet by, all those putts he rolled. Every single one, the results showed more went in the hole with the flagstick in.
Wow.
So, put that in your pipe and smoke it.
I'm going to. I'll probably, after we've had this discussion, leave the flag in more often.
You know, even when I take it out, I always think of this Dave Pelz thing. You know, one of the first golf books I ever read was Putt Like the Pros by Dave Pelz, and I think that that this study was actually part of that original book. But even still, sometimes, like I said, I pull it out, but we should leave it in more often. And a lot of people think, don't even care. Sometimes the guy's standing right there, he's like, you want it in or out? Just pull it out. Because what are the odds you're going to hit the pin anyway?
Right.
But, so, email us and let us if you like to keep the pin in or out.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's hear it.
Contact at fingerlakes1.com, subject line FLX Golfer. And Bob, let's move ahead to your pick of the week.
Pick of the week, V1 Golf app. Now, you can either use this on your stranger or something out there that you decide to ask to take a picture of your swing, and you can get instant feedback. You can put lines on there to see, swing plane, that kind of thing if you're into it. And it gives you something to look at later on after you've either played or had a range session.
The ability to draw those lines wherever you want is pretty helpful.
Right, absolutely, yeah. And I find that, by the way, this is not me. I find that I actually have the app on my phone, and you can download, I think if you get the free version, you can download 2 or 3 pros to
compare?
Yeah, to compare.
Wow.
And you can see what they're doing compared to your video. And it's a pretty neat app. There's quite a few.
Is it free? Does it cost anything?
It's free to get as is with 2 pros, but if you wanted to get more pro downloads and be able to compare them side by side, that costs, I believe, $4.99 for the Android, and I think the iPhone's just the same.
It's like a price of a 1.5 golf balls.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, if you're one of those guys that can look at your swing and you like to evaluate it and see what you're doing, it's a nice app.
So it's called the V1 Golf app.
Correct.
And Android and iPhone?
Yes, Android and iPhone.
Everything is these days, right?
Yep.
So that's Bob's pick of the week. And again, any suggestions for that segment, you can email us at contact@fingerlakes1.com. Subject line FLX Golfer. And we'll call it the old pick of the week.
Sure, if any of the major manufacturers want to send some stuff to demo, we'll be happy to do it.
Absolutely. Well, once we build the traffic.
Right.
Build it, and then the free stuff will come. So, moving on, let's take a look at the golf news, both local and around the Finger Lakes and around the world.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, New York State Women's Amateur Championship coming up on the 15th through 17th of July. Host club is Duchess Golf Club. And I've really been fond of the New York State Women's Am because we hosted that at Seneca Falls 2 years ago. And then last year it was at Ithaca. And, it's awesome when some of the best lady golfers from across the state gather at a course and compete. It's a high level of competition, and having them at Seneca Falls was a little bit of a thrill, wouldn't you say?
Right. Yeah, I actually spent some time out there watching them, and it was great to see how good they were. I mean, they hit the ball, they hit a lot of greens. The short games were great. There were some really good players.
Yeah, like better than you or I, or what's your handicap? I'm a 5 point something.
I'm a 6 something.
So we're sitting right there, around that 80 range for score, and
right.
These ladies were I can't remember what the winning scores were, but they were pretty low near par.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And a lot of people say, well, they're playing from shorter tees, but it really isn't that short. It's almost as if for that event they played the white tees. You know what I mean? The men's regular tees. So
yeah, there was a few tees they had them back there too. You know.
Fun thing about the Women's Am too is you can hop onto the New York State Golf Association website during the event for live scoring, and they post a lot of photos and stuff. So,
you know, I want to say something before you move on. You got to keep in mind that a lot of these women's were straight off the tee, but their short game was phenomenal.
Oh yeah, unstoppable.
I mean, even if we hit it in the same spot they did. I know I'm speaking for myself. I don't think my short game was as, good as theirs was. I mean, they would chip and putt,
95% up and down success rate for the best
3 to 6 feet, and then they were great putters as well.
So the week after that, it's the men's, and that's at Bellevue in Syracuse, which, of course, I played, and we know some people that are members up there, and that's all. If you get a chance to get out to Bellevue and watch some of the men play, it's got an almost U.S. Open type feel to it, So it's worth. It's nice just to be at the course for events like that. And then coming up in 2 weeks, one of the best local tournaments. I've played in it 25 straight years, Bob, and I know you're playing it and I'm playing it. I got friends coming in from North Carolina, Kentucky, Ohio, Virginia. It's the 2-man at Dutch Hollow Country Club.
Mm-hmm.
And that's July 12th and 13th. It's a 2-man scramble. Nice skins game. Flighted after the first day. They always got the course in great condition. It's a really fun 2-man scramble course.
Yes, it is. The holes are set up great for a 2-man type scramble tournament. It's just fantastic. A
lot of risk-reward holes, and
one that sticks out in my mind is 12.
Oh yeah, 12's really. When we get to 12 for the Dream 18, we got to consider that hole.
Right.
Yeah. That's probably Dutch Hollow's signature hole, but yeah, you can almost drive the green if you're able to hit a high draw over trees and a creek, but the smart play is to lay up short of the creek with like a 5 or 6 iron.
Right. But question for you: so if you're hitting, let's say you're hitting second there, and your partner goes for it, hits it in the creek, what do you do?
Well, it depends if it's first or second day. Sometimes first day guys just want to go for everything because it's pre-flighted. So if you make a bogey or even a double bogey,
right?
You can improve on that second day in your flight.
Yeah.
But if I try to play both rounds head up and shoot the best 2 rounds I can, or we can, me and my teammate. And I would prefer in both cases to get one out there first. But a lot of people say in that situation, let one guy try, and if he gets over, the other guy can get more aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
But par means something in 2-man scrambles. That's what's so great about the format.
Mm-hmm.
In 4-man scramble, pars mean nothing. If you make a bogey, you're done.
Yeah.
Period. But 2-man scramble, par means something. So I don't, and it's not the most impossible hole. If you lay up, you're hitting like a 7 or 8 iron, and from sometimes a downhill lie, but if you do make it over the creek, you have 90 to 100 yards in.
Mm-hmm.
And sure, it's a lot, but you're going to birdie it more often if you go for
it.
But
it's a great hole.
But no need to get over aggressive and put 2 in the creek there. I like the first guy to lay it one up, and if he's unsuccessful, then the second guy lay one up.
Mm-hmm.
And if the first guy is successful and puts you in a good spot, the second guy goes for it. But that's going to be a lot of fun. Still some slots remaining for the afternoon pairings. You can go to DutchHollow.com to get information and sign up. I think it's like $110.
Yeah.
For both a steak dinner, great steak dinner, 2 days of golf, includes the cart, skins game. You pay extra, but it's a nice big one.
Right.
So a lot of fun at Dutch Hollow coming up. Also coming up, it's the junior golf camp of the Finger Lakes at Seneca Falls Country Club, and you're going to want to get in it this week. Get your app in if you haven't yet, because the camp starts 1 week from today.
Right.
On July 7th. It's for ages 8 through 17. Look, you got a 7-year-old who likes golf, give us a call. Give them a call down there. I think they'll squeeze them in. So that's not really strict age-wise. 9 a.m. to noon. 5 Mondays throughout the summer, July 7th, 14th, and 21st, August 11th and 18th. The cost is $100 per golfer, and it includes instruction in all aspects of the game from some of our members at Seneca Falls, our head pro, Chris Maneri, and lunch every day, prizes, a camp gift, and a year-end tournament. So you can go to SenecaFallsCountryClub.com to download the app and get it in this week, because it starts next week, and it's the type of thing that some kids are just going to fall in love with.
Right.
If you got a kid who just even you think might be interested in golf, sign up for the camp, and they'll be spending time down there once a week on Mondays during the summer, and it might catch the bug.
Exactly.
What else we got in the news here? Well, the member guest at Seneca Falls Country Club was last weekend. You played in it. How'd you guys do? Who was your partner?
My partner was Lynn Hilwa.
Oh, that's right. Lynn Hilwa, daughter of 9-time club champ Mark Hilwa, and member at Bellevue.
Correct. Yeah.
And how'd you guys do?
Well, she did great. I did not do so well. She almost had a natural eagle on 6.
Wow.
She was on in 2.
Was it best ball?
About 10 foot. Yeah. Yep. She was about 10 foot away. She played really, really well. Me, on the other hand, not so good. I think after the first 18, we were about 4 shots out of the lead. And I think we stayed about there before it was all said and done.
But a good day?
Yeah, it was a great day. Course was in great shape. The weather cooperated immensely, so it was a good time.
So let's turn our attention quickly to the PGA Tour, where Justin Rose won the Quicken Loans, at Congressional. I hate that name. They call it the Quicken Loans. It's like, it doesn't fit the... It's a big tournament. That's like almost on par with maybe the Memorial, right?
Yeah. Yep.
But it doesn't feel that way when you call it the Quicken Loans. But Justin Rose won in the playoff, won his 6th PGA Tour title. Did you see that playoff?
Yes, I did. I did. It was one of those odd tournaments where the leaders didn't quite hang in there, right? The two what was the 2 last guys that teed off there? There was, can't remember their names. One of them's been playing pretty well this year, but anyways, Justin Rose played solid enough to pull it out in the end there, and hit a drive down the middle, and took her home.
You a fan of Justin Rose?
I don't mind Justin Rose. I like him. I think he's pretty cool. He seems like he interacts with the fans really well, and
it's funny because the first time anybody ever saw Justin Rose was in the British Open when he holed the shot on 18, when it didn't even matter. He's out of it, but actually it probably did matter to him quite a bit. He was just a kid.
Right.
Now he's got 6 PGA Tour titles and British Open title, right? And what's the one major he won? The U.S. Open last year?
Yes.
The U.S. Open last year. So, congratulations to him. But, when I was perusing the FedEx Cup standings after the Quicken Loans, the updated ones, I was kind of surprised. You got number 2's Bubba Watson, 3's Matt Kuchar, 4's Dustin Johnson, 5's Jordan Spieth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that sounds about right.
Mm-hmm.
Number 1, you know who number 1 is?
Jimmy Walker.
Jimmy Walker.
Yeah.
And it just quietly, dominating.
Right.
You a fan of Jimmy Walker? No opinion?
Well, Jimmy Walker, I don't really know who Jimmy Walker is.
Except he's gaining a lot of FedEx points. A lot of FedEx points. 2 wins on the year.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard his name before, but I don't know him that well. He must be just, top 10 every week or something.
Well, we're obviously going to be hearing more of him, with that type of performance. If it keeps up, he's going to be on the Ryder Cup team. He's going to be on the President's Cup team. He's, Jimmy Walker.
Mm-hmm.
But, so also any news bits you want to contribute to the program. Perhaps you're a pro at a golf course or a general manager or a PR person at a local course. Send us a press release of your events. Believe me, we'll read them on the air. If it's from the Finger Lakes region, contact the fingerlakes1.com, subject line, Finger Lakes Golfer. And we'll get those right on during our news segment. So, moving right along, Bob, here. Got a little bit of a late start. You got hung up in the old drive-through.
Yeah, the old drive-through. Good times.
Once you're in, you can't get out, right?
No, you're stuck.
Now, the most feedback by far that we get through our first 2 episodes is for the Finger Lakes Dream 18. And for those of us who are joining us for the first time, we are picking one hole a week from a Finger Lakes course that will comprise the Finger Lakes Dream 18. And for episode 1, it had to be hole 1, a hole 1 somewhere.
Correct.
And we chose Ithaca Country Club's opening hole. Hole 2 has to be a second hole, and we chose Victor Hills East second hole. So this week we need a number 3. And I thought long and hard about including the third hole at Seneca Falls Country Club, the same way I did the second hole last week. I just think 2 and 3 are great holes at Seneca Falls.
Mm-hmm.
You know, small greens. Hole 3, small green, par 3, about 165, 170, bunkers on either side, and it's a hole that I like to. Actually, I don't mind if I'm 5 yards short of that green, third hole of your round, rather than being long left or right and having to, play a flop shot over a bunker onto a small green.
Right.
So, but that's not the hole we chose. And the hole 3 at Dutch, also a pretty good golf hole, wouldn't you say?
Yes. Yep.
But we didn't choose that either.
No, we did not.
But we did choose number 3 at Ravenwood.
Ravenwood.
418 yards from the tournament tees, 395 from the back tees, and it's a par 4 dogleg left around a lake. You know the hole?
Yeah.
I got a picture right here. It's actually that's not hole 3. This is hole 3 right there.
Yep.
So you got to drive out. You can cut off some over the lake if you want. Then a dogleg left to a green with 3 pretty nice looking bunkers that line the side of the green facing the lake. It's a big green from front to back. If the pin's back and you're on the front, there's a good chance you're going to 3-putt that thing. And the way you play this hole is you conservatively take it out to the right. Leave yourself, probably about 180 in, but the green's accessible. It's the type of the hole that if you don't have to hit it over the water if you don't want. You can play.
Could hit a little draw in there if you want to.
Your ball never has to go over the water on this hole at Ravenwood.
It's a good hole.
Yeah, from an elevated tee, you'll see the hole wraps around a large lake on the left side of the fairway. Therefore, the safe tee shot is down the right side, which also opens up the green for your approach shot. If the pin placement is in the front of the green, being on the back of the green could cause a 3-putt. So, when's the last time you played Ravenwood?
It's been a couple years.
Awesome course.
Yeah.
Awesome facility.
Yeah.
Fun to go.
I love it.
Fun to go. I haven't been in a couple years either. There's actually a few holes that could make it onto the Dream 18 at Ravenwood. One rule though, Bob, only 2 from one course.
Only 2.
No more than 2. And actually I'd like it to be only 1 per 9. There's a lot of golf courses out there. No need to monopolize it. But next week, hole 4, where's the best hole 4s in the Finger Lakes? Email us, contact@fingerlakes1.com. That's the number 1, subject line, Finger Lakes Golfer, with your suggestion for the best hole 4 in the Finger Lakes.
And I can think of a couple already.
What are first ones that come to mind? Or were you just saying that?
No. Number 4 at Seneca Falls is a tough one for me.
Yeah, but that was not going on any list.
No, I
it's
agree.
a tough hole.
No, I agree. Number 4 at Greystone, I like.
Oh, yeah. Yep. That's a good hole. I'm having trouble thinking of
Greystone's one of my favorites, by the way.
If that's one of your favorite courses, so we'll definitely see some
Yeah.
holes on there. Well, maybe it will be number 4 Greystone next week. What about hole number 4 at Dutch, par 3 over the creek? That is a classic par 3.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about Dutch.
Yeah, that is a nice hole.
But that'll be next week. So again, let us know your suggestions for the best hole 4. And it's coming up here at 9:45 on a muggy Monday night here in the FingerLakes1.com studios. And it's time for our final segment of the night. It's time for my Zen tip of the week. And like I said earlier, it's funny. People texting me to be the ball and stuff, making fun of me because I'm all about the Zen.
Yeah, well,
I love it. I mean, I could. That's all I focus on. I don't focus on anything technical in my swing anymore. I really don't. I can't remember the last time I went to the range and like worked on something.
when's the last time you've been to the range? That's the question.
Oh, I hit some balls on Sunday morning.
Well, I mean, not to warm up, to work,
Yeah. If things get bad to the point where, I'm really struggling just to play around, I don't know where the ball's going, I might hit the range, but that really hasn't happened in a number of years. I usually can work through it on the course.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's also probably to my detriment. Everybody knows that practicing's good.
Mm-hmm.
Although there's some that might argue that for the average golfer, but practicing will hurt. You'll reinforce bad habits. And honestly, you don't want to think about too many technical things when you're swinging. So a lot of times you'll take a lot of technical thoughts from the range to the course. But let's get back to my tip of the week, which is how emotions affect you before, after and between shots, and how to use those emotions to your advantage. So, Dr. Joseph Parent, author of Zen Golf, says the key is to change your attitude, not try to get rid of the emotion. Neither suppress nor indulge the emotion. Acknowledge the emotion's intensity, but drop the storyline connected with it. And that's the tip. You need to, of course, a bad shot is going to make you angry or upset to some degree. A good Zen golfer would train themselves to have that not affect them negatively at all. But that's almost impossible, right? And it's also impossible when you have 3 holes left in your round and you're potentially at the point where you could have the best round, of your life, or you're playing one of those good rounds. It's impossible to disregard the emotions. So acknowledge the emotion, but drop the storyline connected with it. So in other words, what's going to make you, like you're coming from the 15th to the 16th and you're 1 under par. And, if you or I were 1 under par after 15, that's rare air. It's almost like, we start to think this could be the best round of my life, or, geez, I don't want to blow it now. You got to drop the storyline connected with it. Use the emotions that you're feeling and put it into the next shot. It's all you can do. But drop the storyline connected to it. In other words, don't think about your scorecard. Don't think about the best rounds you've ever had. Don't think about the last time you were 1 under after 15 and made a 7. Don't think about any of that, you guys. So, and that takes some work, It's funny because I've got a couple stories actually, about this. Good kid that we played golf with that we both are fond of at Seneca Falls that works in the pro shop, Dennis.
Yep.
I played with Dennis on Sunday morning, and he was having the best round of his life.
Mm-hmm.
Right up there. He's shot a 72 once before in his life. Shot a lot of 77, 78s recently, and I played with him before. A couple weeks ago, he shot a 77. That thing could have been a 70.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to him, you need to learn how to shoot low scores. Obviously got the game to do it. You need to learn how to get it on the card and out of your dreams. Get out of my dreams, get onto my car. Get out of my dreams, get into my card.
Right.
So, first of all, I never talked to him once during the whole back 9 about, hey, man, you're having a great day.
But you knew where he was, right?
Oh, yeah, I was keeping the card. The card. And I actually didn't know exactly where he was, but I knew that he was, at one point on the back, he made a birdie, and I thought that put him under par. So, anyways, he gets off of 15, and the group behind us was kind of with him, and I knew he was talking to somebody in the group about, how good he was playing.
Mm-hmm.
And so he came up to 16, and I said, and he was my partner too for the day. So he gets up to the 16th tee before he's pulling out his club, and the first thing he says to me is, Mark Pill has been telling me I should hit my hybrid here. And I said, don't listen to Mark Hill. He may have won 9 club championships.
Right.
I said, but you haven't hit a bad drive yet today.
Mm-hmm.
Take your driver out, hit it down the fairway, and don't. And knowing that he was now in his mind thinking about the whole event of shooting this round.
Mm-hmm.
I said, the only thing you need to do from here on out is hit good shots one at a time. Don't think about the score. Think about the shot in front of you. Hit a good one. Get up to the next one. Hit that good. Then do the short game stuff. Hit a good tee shot on 17. Hit another good shot on 18. You're basically home free. So you're really, it seems like you got the toughest hole in the course at Seneca Falls, and it's like these 3 holes in front of you preventing you from having that success that you want. You're really 4 good shots away.
Right.
And so he hits a good tee shot, thankfully, because I would have felt real guilty if he had not hit in the hybrid like he originally wanted to,
Mm-hmm.
So he hit a good tee shot, so I was off the hook. Hit a good second shot just off the green, didn't get up and down, real simple up and down. So then on 17, he hits his first really bad shot of the day. He pull hooks it way left, and he had done nothing like this before. And so I wonder, if part of it was disappointment from 16, a little bit of internal anger for not converting that easy up and down and ruining what could be the best round of his life.
Mm-hmm.
And part of it, just trying to go a little above and beyond. He was really hyped up to hit a good shot there, but
right.
Whatever it was, what he did on that 17th tee wasn't the same thing that he did on the previous shots that he had hitting well all day. So he did pull it together. He birdied 18 and shot 72.
Nice.
Going 1 over on the last 3, which is pretty good for that stretch.
Right.
Not bad. So, that's what made me think about this is Zen tip. Another thing is I got a couple of friends who could be better golfers if they wouldn't get so down on themselves after 1 or 2 bad shots. They're like, I suck.
Right. The thing that I find difficult to understand is when someone is 3 holes in, or even on their first hole, they might double. Let's say you get a double, or let's say you even get a triple. You have 17 more holes to make that up, right?
Or not even thinking about making it up, just thinking that okay, that was
right.
That was 1/18th of what I'm going to do today. As long as I can get on a good path, that'll be ancient history. So yeah, you do make it up, but I don't like to think of it like, I'm going to make that up at some point. That bad start.
Right.
That's just something that happened, and now you're moving on. That could have happened later in the round, early in the round. But yeah, you're right. You see a lot of guys after that first hole, which is an easy hole, taking a bogey and thinking the round's over. But some of my best rounds down there have been with a bogey on one,
Mm-hmm.
for whatever reason,
yeah.
And then you end
Right.
up playing great. And then at the end, you think, geez, if I only would have not bogeyed
Right.
one.
Yeah. Well, one thing I like to do, just to give you my, it's kind of on the same subject as far as the Zen, is I have not even so much a selective memory. I have a very short memory from hole to tee. So whether I birdied a hole or I bogeyed or double bogeyed a hole, I'm very, and I don't know if I was born with this or what, but I'm very good with not letting that bother me and just moving on. After the round, I'll reflect on it, but I have a very short memory from shot to shot even.
Which is great. It's great.
Yeah. It's very helpful if you're playing poorly or if you're getting nervous coming down the stretch. Now, that's not to say that I've kind of known that I was hovering around my low round or my best round.
Let's face it, it's impossible not to. No matter how much you try to put it out of your mind, you know where you are.
Or especially if you got a buddy who's likes to tell you
that's right.
as you walk off 17, hey man, you're doing great. What's your low?
Yep.
That's usually.
Geez, if you just bogey this hole, you'll have your new low.
Right,
And then that's when you make an 8.
Right.
Yeah, it's using those emotions, like you said. Now, on the other side of things, now that I'm becoming more of a Zen expert after practicing these techniques for close to a decade now. I think I've been really into the Zen golf side of things, and I mean, even last year, if I'd made a birdie and then I made another birdie, I would really I might even give a yell. I might give some high five. I might really get pumped up, and I might walk a little faster to the tee.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually thought that's where I wanted to get, to that point where I was kind of a little hyped.
Mm-hmm.
Then I realized, geez, that's just as bad as getting mad, maybe. Not as bad, but it could be detrimental, getting too hyped up. Stay even key. So this year I've consciously, after making a birdie or on a good stretch, not getting amped about it. It's just trying to stay even keel.
Maintain that flat line.
Right, but enjoy myself, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's the thing.
Well, you don't want to be comatose, but...
Right. It's like, you know, an interesting story. Zach Johnson, Masters champion, friend of ours, is friends with his caddy, and he got to walk the course with him during a practice round at last year's PGA up in Rochester.
Mm-hmm.
I think I got the flag right there, right?
Yep.
And at the end of the day, he said, "Hey, Zach, go get him, man. You're playing great. It's going to be a great week. You know, your game's really coming together." Something. And the caddy pulled him aside and said, "Hey, man, we don't talk about stuff like that. He just does. He just goes and does. He does not doing good. He's not doing bad. He just hits one shot at a time and doesn't need the pep talk. You know, doesn't want the pep talk."
Right.
So that's like one extreme. But a lot of guys on the PGA Tour are like that, you know. It's the most mental of all games, I'd say.
I agree. It is.
But that about wraps it up here, Bob. Any parting shots?
No. I just say hit them long and hit them less often.
Yeah, they gonna be a hot one, guys. So you know, stay hydrated out there on the course.
Drink plenty of water.
And keep an eye on the radar. FingerLakes1.com app's free in the Android and iPhone store. Not only can you watch this podcast live or on demand on that app, but you're also just one tap away from the latest local radar, which is invaluable to have when you're out there on the links and you hear it rumbling and you need to decide if you got to head in or stay out.
Err on the side of caution.
True. Good advice, Bob. Good advice.
Thank you.
So thanks for joining us tonight for episode 3 of the Finger Lakes Golfer Podcast. We'll be back next Monday night at 9 p.m. Until then, hit 'em long, not often.
Support great local content like this by becoming a patron of FingerLakes1.com. Visit patreon.com/FL1.
FingerLakes1.com.